What is going on, guys? Judo Sloth here. Before we get into today's video, let's open this epic chest in Clash Royale. As ever, we get some gold, 7 arrow cards, 16 goblin cards, a rare card of the musketeer, the fireball, nothing special as of yet, 2 P.E.K.K.A cards so we can upgrade that, couple of giant cards, that's always useful, and the goblin barrel as our epic card. Absolutely brilliant. If you've seen this in action, you will know how good that card is, and I can't wait to get to use it. However, the 2 replays I have for you today were actually recorded prior to getting that card, so make sure to stick around and you will see the goblin barrel in episodes to come. Hit the subscribe button on the right to be notified when each of my new videos becomes available. Now, getting into today's video, this is probably my favourite part of the game, other than the gameplay itself, but it is that you can have friendly matches with your clanmates. Now, obviously, this is always just a bit of fun, and we do go back and forth, but my first match today within the Rising family is against the Bright Pink Star. She does have a channel as well, so I'll put a link down to that in the description. She is doing Clash Royale battles as well if you do want to check that out, but let's get into this first attack. So starting out, I tried to make best use of the cards I was dealt in the first place. So I tried to use my heavy troops to make an offensive push. The Bright Pink Star countered that very well and used her lower HP troops to try and swarm my higher troops, but within her battlefield. So she had her archer towers and other defences helping her out as well, and that worked really well for her. Now, these are all things that I will try and discuss and bring out in a beginner tips video on my channel very soon. Moving on from that opening phase, the Bright Pink Star has a lot of troops coming at me now, and the only thing I had to defend at the time was a dragon. Now, that's great for taking out those small troops, and it got a bit of splash damage on the dragon as well, and then I was able to use my arrows to take out the other smaller troops. However, she pushed on with a P.E.K.K.A and managed to get my first castle down. Couple of goblins in there to try and slow things down, but it wasn't enough, and she's already getting huge amounts of damage on my king tower, so I have to use my fireball up close to get rid of them troops, or it could have been a very quick game over for me. So not a great start, and I do promise I will try and show you how to avoid this in my beginner tips video, but you can't give up, and I have to just push on and try and take the tower on the right hand side, because I did manage to get a little bit of damage on that. So as my knight was moving forward, I reinforced that with a dragon. And you want to try and get your timing down like this so that you can reinforce damage on the tower by using multiple troops and coming at the towers with swarms of attacks. So in other words, you can't just be dropping your troops in willy-nilly, you need to try and use them to their strengths, just like you would in Clash. So we have a difficult one on our hands right now because I have just managed to take the right hand tower down and square things up, but I was getting huge damage on my king tower, and luckily my knight which I dropped down there was able to take out the giant and move on from there. Now he's just about to get swarmed and taken down, but what I decided to do, because there's a lot of low HP troops at the other side of the map, is put a giant down to try and distract them and then use a dragon in order to do a bit splash damage. And I did have a couple of goblins reinforcing things by myself. Now that will hopefully leave me with the dragon in order to make a little bit of an offensive push myself, as you can see going on there now. And you really want to try and start the final minute where it is double elixir and the sudden death on an offensive push, because it puts the defender kind of on the back pedal and you're making them think and throw in their troops in a way that might not be quite as organised as if they had a little bit more time on their hands. Now, as you can see, we've kind of tied things up, and I still have the upper hand on the top, and although that fireball comes down and makes a valiant effort on my king's tower, it's not enough, and I am able to nick it and secure all 3 crowns within sudden death. So a fun-packed battle and a great match, and I'm telling you guys, these clan battles are so fun because you can have a bit talk about it afterwards and they're your friends at the end of the day. So a great match, Bright Pink Star, aka Helly, and let's move on to the next one. Now, if you play this game, you will know that a lot of battles are action-packed, and a lot of them do come down to the last minute, and this next one is no different. This one is against Dean. You will see the little spoiler that I won the battle, but that is not to take away just how close this one was as well. So going back to what we were saying before and the cards you were dealt with to begin with, I don't really have any smaller troops that I can go on defense with, which would be helpful right now since Dean is going straight on the offense as well. But sometimes the best way to counter offense is with offense yourself, so I decided to make a push myself on that right hand side as well, but I did put a knight down on the left hand side to help with defense a little bit, and then reinforce that with some goblins when I got them. So I tried to slow Dean down a little bit on that left hand side, which you can see did work. I took the right hand side tower first, but he did manage to get it. It means that things are squared up. But actually, he does have some troops left over, so he's going to get a little bit more damage on my king tower than I got on his. So you might have to make a decision on whether you want to fight fire with fire, as I did in that case, or whether you want to go on defense and use your defensive towers to your advantage. So right now, Dean has a giant coming in, and I have a dragon which is battling it, but his giant is under attack from my defensive towers at the same time, which means it's taking a lot more damage and leaves my dragon a lot better chance of coming out on top. I'm then able to reinforce this with my own troops, so in this case a giant and some spear goblins, to go on an offensive push myself. Unfortunately, Dean is too wise for that and takes my goblins out with a set of arrows, and kind of resets the board as such, and that's what I mean by you have waves of attacks and defense. So once the board is almost reset, you then have to analyze your deck again and work out whether you are in a position to go on offense yourself or whether you sit back and go on defense. So again, Dean had one of them sneaky peckers, which is why he took so much damage from my king tower in the first place when I wasn't expecting it. I was able to take that down and then make a little push towards that tower. However, similar to the first attack, my king tower is on quite low health and I have very little down on his tower. So heading into the last minute, I really need to be starting to make a bit of an attack, especially with the double elixir, so I was able to go on defense a little bit, build up some troop composition and make a push, and my plan at this point was purely to take out that left hand side tower and then take the 2-1 victory. However, if we look at the board now, you will see my king tower has very little health. He's making a solid push, everything he's got towards it, but he's almost neglected my troops at the top that are slowly doing damage. His is down to about half health now. I've managed to build up a little bit of an army and fend off his giant. Only 90 health left, so close, but if you bring your focus back to the top of the screen, with just 10 seconds left, my dragon is going to town, but it is a set of arrows flying over the top that deals the last 4 damage and brings home victory. Another very exciting battle here on Clash Royale. Make sure to subscribe for more Clash Royale battles and content as we progress through the game. I've been your host Judo Sloth, and until next time, peace out guys. Stay tuned for more Clash of Clans.